sweetest girl I knew, her name was Anna, to spend a private moment with me on my Aunt Gloria's porch. The sun was setting. The sounds of the neighborhood began to subside. And there I was, with possibly the love of my life. The minute I made contact, my stern Aunt Gloria burst upon the scene. She broke us apart and said, "Son, you're going straight to hell." Ruined the moment. Of course, you know what I was thinking. Can I kiss girls in hell? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Well, of course, Anna ran off, and there I was, left to face Aunt Gloria alone. But as she looked at me, something happened. Something overcame her. Her demeanor changed. And she said, "Sit down, son." And I sat down. And she lectured softly, but she was approaching me very differently. She looked at me and she said, "You know, there's a lesson you need to learn. You may be too young for this, but love is not a choice." Several months later, while Anna was running around chasing more eligible boys, I decided to start a career in magic. I started practicing magic tricks, became a little bit better, started putting on magic shows on that very same porch, invite the neighborhood kids in, and I was getting a little bit better. And in fact, my stage name was The Amazing Merla. Well, the highlight of the show was when I made my little sister Grace disappear. I would take this box, have my little sister crawl into that box. I'd cover that box with a dark cloth, spin the box a little bit, say a few magic words, pull off that cloth, open up the box, and voila, little sister's gone. My audience was mostly preteen boys. Really loved that point. I'd then, a few minutes later, take that cloth, put it back over the box, spin the box again, say another few magic words, pull off that cloth, open up the box, and she would pop out. More often than not, she'd pop out with a frown on her face. And to the delight, extreme delight of my audience, every now and then, she'd shout, "I hate that box," and she'd run off. Well, my magic career ended one day when my little sister didn't reappear when she was supposed to reappear. I quickly ended the show. Luckily for me, my parents were out of town, but my Aunt Gloria was right there on the spot. She immediately took charge. We had a problem. We had to find my little sister. Now, of course, I was the only suspect. So she launched into a full investigation and a full interrogation. We ended up doing a house-to-house search throughout the neighborhood, and sure enough, we came upon her at a neighbor's house, and she was enjoying a cherry popsicle. She looked at us, and she said, "I told you I hate that box." My career ended that day as a magician, but afterwards, Mine came back to me, and she said, "Son, sit down." And she lectured me again about the sins of a magician. But then she ended that little conversation was, love is not a choice. Many years later, a few months before my 18th birthday, I accidentally consumed an alcoholic beverage. Okay, there were several alcoholic beverages. And I knew better than to go home to my parents' house. So where did I head? Back to that porch, back to my Aunt Gloria, where she took me. She counseled me, said a few harsh words, but then she said, "Son, love is not a choice." A few years ago, there was another magic act on that porch. Matt was dying of cancer. And she decided to disappear at her last day of life on that porch, sitting among her family, observing the neighborhood, watching life pass by, listening to the rustling trees, and just enjoying the company of her family. I had an opportunity to sit by her, and as I sat by her, and by this time she was pretty weak, she couldn't speak, and I looked at her, and I spoke for her, because I knew what she would say to me. Love is not a choice. I know it, Gloria. I know you love me regardless of any of my imperfections. And I love you, Gloria. She disappeared later that evening among the sobs of the trees. I have a young niece. Her name is Lauren.